Welcome to today's very first Tough Love video. I've wanted to do this series for a while, just never really knew the right way to go about it without it turning into a massive rant. So this is the first video of such. I decided to take a slightly different approach, and I'm going to try doing kind of an intuitive message for this to see how it goes. This one and the next video that will be filmed for this series. And I don't remember what prompted this memory that was dredged up, probably because I needed to remember it. And the actual specifics are lost to me because I was like 13 or 14 when this came about. And it was on a field trip somewhere. It had to be like 7th or 8th grade. Was it one of the, it might have been one of the big class trips. I really don't remember. And one of the dads that was chaperoning was giving us some advice. A bunch of 13 and 14-year-olds, their first forays into the dating world. And he happened to mention that on his wedding band, engraved or inscribed, were the letters WSS, and they stood for warm, safe, and secure. And out of the blue, one day, I just happened to remember that. Because his whole thing was marry someone that makes you feel warm, safe, and secure. And I think regardless of where you are in life or who you are, all of us want the same thing. All of us want someone in our life, whether it is a platonic relationship, romantic relationship, or even friendships, where you feel safe, you feel accepted, you are free to be yourself. And I do kind of want to make a point here that where you are in life will very much dictate how this is defined and how it will represent or present or manifest for you. Someone that's in their early teens and 20s, or their late teens and 20s, even early teens, they don't really know, they may not necessarily know what they want. They have this kind of amorphous idea, which when you would hit your 30s and 40s is going to look very different to someone that's in their 70s or 80s, their 50s or 60s. People that have never been married are going to define this differently than someone who's been divorced or someone who's a widow or a widower. It's going to represent very differently as to where you are in life. The core elements of it are the same, but the way it represents will be different. The way it manifests will be different. It's going to be the wording, the semantics, the desires for women will be different from men, will be different if you're straight or if you're gay. The life experiences that you have will dictate how this is defined by you. And I've tried to figure out how I would define them, mostly for myself, but maybe so I could give you examples. To me, warmth has always, for whatever reason, tends to be associated with affection. Someone who is somehow affectionate toward you. I'm a very openly affectionate person. Some people, depending on the person that knows me, some people might think I'm actually very reserved. But I can be very affectionate. And that is something that I would like to find echoed in a partner in some form. Now, some of you might have partners that are generally reserved and cold, at least perceived that way by other people, but with you, they're different. And that's what matters. It's how they are with you, not with other people. You are their person, the other people are not. But yeah, I generally associate it with affection. I apologize, I keep closing my eyes. It's because I'm kind of listening to the way I'm supposed to present things, and shutting my eyes helps it filter through a little bit better. But that's to me what warmth is. It's that show of affection, the the actions sometimes more than the words, because people can say the words and not back up the action. And those actions have different ramifications sometimes than the words. The words are nice, the words are pretty. Some people are very heartfelt with their words and they mean what they say. I have been in situations where promises were made and never kept. So sometimes you need to balance out words and actions when it comes to representing warmth. Safe is just safety. Do you feel safe with this person? Do you feel safe to be yourself? Can you be your weird goblin-like little self? Just can you let your inner child out? Can you be the weirdo, the playfulness, the extravagance? Dramatic? I don't know what word they're trying to use here. I guess some people can be a little over the top. Can you be humor-wise or personality-wise? Like, can they be that kind of over-the-top person and you just kind of accept them for who they are in those moments of being a little over the top? But it's essentially, can you be your truest self, the person that you are when you're alone, or the person that you are kind of are when you're alone, because you might still be a slightly different person when you're by yourself than you are with your person, but it is closer akin to that space. Then I hope that makes sense. I know I've got that 1,000-yard stare. It's like I'm trying to remind myself to look at the camera, but it's easier to look over the camera to pull the words out. But sometimes it's a little bit like grasping at smoke. And for secure, apparently that's all they want me to say about warmth. Security to me equals vulnerability. Is this someone you can be vulnerable with? If you are that person that is always kind of the rock for everyone else, can they be your rock in return? And can you be theirs? This isn't just one-sided. This is very much a two-sided street. You have to be what you give, you have to be willing to receive, so what you give out, you have to be willing to receive back. So if they are willing to let you be your kind of weird self, who you truly are, you have to be accepting of them as well. Flaws and all. Progress, not perfection, and no one is perfect. That makes sense. Okay, that does make sense. But from a security standpoint, it's vulnerability. If you break down, will this person support you and just kind of hold you and just hold space for you, or are they going to ridicule you? Can you tell them some of the dark parts of you and not have it thrown back at you, not be criticized or ridiculed for those things? And we're not talking deep, dark desires, although you would like to probably share those as well. These are the parts of you that you keep that no one knows, that you're not willing to discuss, or that you have always wanted to discuss, but you can't or you won't. Some people have had their vulnerability thrown back at them. If you have a partner that is like that, more than likely you are working with someone who may have some deep trust issues. You might get through the warm and safe part. The safe part might be a little fiddly. The secure part is where you're going to have to do some work. Because I can say from experience that if you are vulnerable with someone and it is thrown back at you, you will almost never open up about that subject again unless you know you are in a very, very secure relationship, whether it is a friendship or a romantic relationship. Someone will not open up until it is years later. This is not necessarily going to be something that someone's going to open up about very early on. It is the kind of thing that will take years to cultivate. And if you're married, you may have noticed that these things were important to you but have changed as you've gone on. If you have children, you have probably noticed that some of the definitions have shifted for you as to what they now entail. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's a natural progression. Again, the core is always the same. It's always the same core sentiment, emotion, feeling, how it is presented to you, how it has manifested, how you now expect it to be presented is going to be different. And not everyone thinks of that in relationships. Sometimes they're so caught up in the love and the lust, they forget or overlook, this person doesn't make me feel safe. There's an undercurrent here I can't put my finger on, but I am ill at ease. I had that too. I wasn't listening to my inner guidance, met someone through communication, through the phone, on the phone, it was fine. In person, I was always on edge. I was always slightly uncomfortable. And I didn't realize that until after this person disappeared from my life. That was apparently a very important lesson that I needed to learn. Not apparently, it was. You need to listen to your intuition. It's very important to listen to your intuition because that is telling you something that you're not consciously aware of. You're subconsciously aware of. It's trying to make its way into your consciousness, but you may not want to acknowledge it or accept it or even understand it. You may not fully grasp what the root is. Yeah. And that's something that I wanted to impart to you so that you will understand when you are presented with it. It doesn't mean that the relationship is doomed. It doesn't mean that the person is innately flawed. There is pain there. There has been suffering. And now you have an option or choice as a partner. Do you wish to help this person heal and grow? Or do you wish to walk away because you can't handle it? You're not willing to deal with it. You're not willing to grow, or it will hinder your growth. Yeah, it's both of those things. Either you're not willing to grow with them, or you have grown past it, and now kind of dredging up someone else's stuff will hinder where you're going, which isn't necessarily bad. It just means you're on two different paths. You can take them with you and help them work through it, or you can kind of gently send them on their way to find someone who is much better suited to help them work through it. It doesn't mean the relationship was bad. It just means that you are in different places and different vibrations. And one of you has progressed a little bit more than the other. The other person still has some very deep healing to do. And sometimes we are not the right ones to help them. Sometimes they are not willing to help themselves and pass that blame on to you. They're going, and that is something we want you to know. Okay, so there are those of you out there that need to hear that and need to hear it phrased that way because you're going through this right now. You have partners or will be meeting partners because there is a big push for new relationships at this time. Not big push. Big opportunity? Oh, maybe a big push, big opportunity for new relationships. And some of you will be presented with new lessons or repeated lessons you have not learned and now need to learn. Repeated lessons that you have learned and may need to help someone else learn. Repeated lessons that you have learned but can't help the other person learn. I think we covered all the bases. We covered all those bases. Okay? So just be aware that the people coming to you now are bringing lessons with them. How you handle these lessons progresses your own journey. Do not be afraid to admit that you might be in over your head, or that for your own peace, you need to walk away. You're going, don't tell them that, and you keep that to yourself. Don't word it a little bit differently for them. They're like, you keep that one to yourself. I can't be with you. I need to protect my own peace. You're just a hot mess right now. Don't tell them that. Don't tell them that. Word that differently. Yeah. And that's all that is the message that is to be conveyed about that. But ultimately, try to find a relationship, whether it is just friends, if you're looking for something that is more platonic or romantic, where your warmth, your safety, and your security can be found within this person, but not your happiness. Your happiness is ultimately up to you. You are the one that controls your happiness. But this person can make you feel some kind of way. But you need to be safe in your own skin. Be at home in your own skin. And know that you are divinely protected and safe. For we are always watching over you. Call upon us when you need extra help. This person may embody this, but we are there as well. But depending on when you find this video, this is meant to be kind of a timeless message. There is no time limit, cap, whatever on this. My intention has always been with all the videos on this channel that they find you when they need you the most. They find you when you need them the most, rather. So it's the same with this video. I hope it finds you when you need it, to give you kind of a sense, guidance, validation as to what it is that you are looking for. And I will see you all again very soon. Take care. Bye.